everybody. We are here with the DCG teams, and this is the DCG update. We are here today to give you a quick update of what happened in the past 2 weeks. We are planning a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So please, if you have any questions that you would like to address to us, please use a Q or a question prefix in the live chat below, so we will know that it is directed to us. Let's start with the platform team without further ado.
Wonderful.
Let me find the Sam, would you kick us off, and while I
Sure.
find the share button?
Yeah. Before I get started, while it's loading, I just wanted to say that things went great. We released 1.3 slightly after 2 weeks ago, and that went off without a hitch. We had our first hard fork. Yeah, everything went fine. The proposer selection algorithm is now solved. There is one last small advantage that's going on, but we're also going to fix that soon too. So, no, everything's been going really great. And yeah. Okay. So
shall we
let's
move
go
forward?
Let's go into the overview. So
yeah,
me
I
and
meant the overview.
so me and Lucas
Okay.
were working on platform stability. Then for withdrawals, I've been working on withdrawals a lot. Then Ivan started, I think, this weekend, and Lucas since today. Paul was working on the platform TUI and helped with withdrawal testing a little bit that I've now taken over. Evgeny worked on the Grove DB visualizer, and it's nearing completion. And Dash and Ivan worked on some items in Dashmate. Okay. So let's start with TenderDash this time.
Yeah, hi. So we released TenderDash 1.3.0 that is already deployed by the community on mainnet and works quite well. We are not aware of any issues with that. And it includes some boost of Go Deadlock library that is used for non-production deployments. So for mainnet, it doesn't do any change. We have fixed that proposer selection algorithm that was a bit unfair. So now, as some already mentioned, it works correctly. And we had some RPC panic fixed in that version. So that's pretty much it. And in the next version, we already have some tests improvement, both in the end-to-end tests, which are just starting the TenderDash network and during various test scenarios. So we updated these tests for the changes from 1.3.0, and also the evidence tests that were broken in 1.3.0 are also updated. These are just test updates, so the code base itself in 1.3.0 is good, so we didn't release. And one small item that is in review, but basically we just need to spend some time checking if it's working as expected and should be ready to merge, is some metric to just see how many validators voted on the block already. It's useful for debugging, but also a low priority thing for TenderDash. And on the next slide, we also updated TenderDash ABCI library that's basically binding between and connection between TenderDash and platform. basically to implement consensus version. So the big change is that TenderDash right now supports two versions of consensus algorithm. The old proposal selection algorithm, which is consensus version 0, and the new one that we just introduced in 1.3. And this is done to be backwards compatible to avoid hard forks of the chain. And this change in Tender-ABCI just adds this support for this into this library, so that Drive can easily like set the version. And Drive side is of course also already implemented. Some did that, and it's released. Yeah, and two smaller things. It's more like refactoring and maintenance that are waiting. These are a bit breaking changes because they require also Drive to use newer version of things like Tokyo, which is our parallel execution multi-threading library. Let's call it like that. So basically we need to update everything together, and we don't want to do that at this point until we release withdrawals and have some more time to do such maintenance updates and to test it properly on testnet and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it on my side.
Thank you. Let's continue with Evgeny and the visualizer.
Hi there. As I mentioned, we are close to release the product, and actually it goes into the following release, 1.4. So yeah, I think we are there. And during the sprint, we landed documentation because previously there was none. So now it's in a form of review with screenshots, etc. It explains how and why to use it. And some small features regarding byte representation that are only platform specific, so useful for us and for our probable bug fixes in the future. Element flags that can be parsed as epoch information are now could be shown, and also what logics in the form of JSON tree. And also our format of timestamps is also supported now. Noticed one performance issue with big subtrees. An example, it was poll subtree, and slight lag on my PC happened. So that's how I found out about it, and the fix was landed just now, and it goes into release as well. And yes, other tasks are now low priority and they can wait. And our v.1, yeah, v1.1 actually goes live soon. So here's the update. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to withdrawals. Sam?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that I had taken up my mic. So yes, so there was a lot of work needed to get done to get withdrawals out. As of right now, I believe all the work is done. We are in a testing phase though. So I grouped a lot of things that would be boring for most people just into withdrawal fixes. But yeah. There was also that issue that Core had reported where only the top two quorums could actually assign withdrawals or could receive withdrawals and could accept them. So that needed to get done. So I did that. To be able to test this out, we needed to kind of know what is the current state of platform and which quorums are currently signing. So I made a query for that. We implemented withdrawal limits. Before, basically, if you tried to withdraw too much, the transaction would go through, but then Core would reject it, and then you'd have to wait a few hours to be able to then do the withdrawal again, reinitiate it. But at this point, no, what's happening is that it will just automatically queue the withdrawal until the limit has been reached, and you're basically placed in a queue and just waiting your turn in line. Also, if people are wondering why withdrawal limits, this is just a security precaution that we'll eventually remove from the system, or we'll propose a version that removes it. Okay, next one is withdrawal automatic retries after core rejection. So in the case that core rejects a withdrawal, for some reason that we haven't seen one rejected yet. So we're actually having a problem testing this out right now, because the checks on platform side are so good that, yeah, you just don't see any rejections. But yeah, what will happen is platform will automatically retry the withdrawal after 48 blocks, and then it should work. Another one is the withdrawals were too cheap for the processing cost involved for the network, so we upped the fee. The fee currently is probably around 2.5 cents to make a withdrawal, because actually withdrawals are one of the most computationally expensive things you can do in platform, because they require a lot of signature aggregation, and yeah, it requires a lot of processing power to do all those signatures. The next one is yeah, remove duplicated amount validation. I did not write this. Ivan, did you write this?
Yeah, I've added it to you, just like since you're talking about withdrawals, you probably covered this one as well.
Okay. Okay, let's go on. So evolution 1.4, we were trying to get it out today or even earlier, but we're still in testing, and we still have 3 or 4 items to test, and we haven't even tested it on testnet yet. Rushing withdrawals would be like catastrophic if there was an issue. So we're going to spend a few more days in testing. Currently, though, all the code is written. So it's just, we just want to be extra safe here, because we really don't want there to be a problem. So we want to triple check everything, and then we'll make a release this week, later this week. Some other things that will be in this release are, the query of the current proposer and validator set info. That's I'm actually going to make a demo basically right now about this, and the stop of, so there was one issue where if you're in one of the latest quorums and that quorum switches out. Okay, this is actually quite hard to explain, but the end result of this problem was that Evo nodes with a ProTX hash that was low in the list would have a slight, maybe 1 out of 24 advantage. And that's why they would propose on average, maybe 2%, 3% more blocks, something very, very small, but over a year, it would be non-negligible. So that's also been fixed. Okay, so I'm going to make a demo right now, just to show kind of the withdrawals, and I think people might like to see that. So, yep. Here we go. So yes, so currently we actually see withdrawals here, right? This is so you can actually see that there's a few more items here that you can do. You can see view withdrawals in the queue, and you can see basically the different statuses of the withdrawals from queued, pooled, and broadcasted. So right now we have only pooled and broadcasted, but actually if we were to refresh this, I bet all the withdrawals have gone through. Let's refresh. I'm pressing W right now. And oh, nope. Somebody's been doing queues, withdrawals. Lukasz, are you stress testing withdrawals right now?
Not now, but just a few moments ago. So yes, it's me.
Okay, so basically, Lucas just queued all these withdrawals. And why are they queued? So let's basically see the current proposer queues. So like this. And we can see that basically the current validator the person that just proposed a block is this one, 586A3. And the quorum that can sign withdrawals is the first one at the top here. So we basically just need to go through blocks to the end to get back to the top to be able to get those signed. So what we're going to do to go quickly about this is just we're gonna make a lot of blocks quickly by registering usernames that right now this is on a devnet, so it doesn't really matter. It's not mainnet. So we're just going to register a few random things. And every single time we register one of these basically a few blocks, 2 blocks probably will go through. So let's see. Come on. Let's do a few more. And let's see where we're at in the list right now. Right now we're down here. Okay, so we have 6 more names to do, and then we'll be at the top. Okay. Oops. Okay, so one name, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now if we look at the withdrawal queue, we can see that they're still queued, and then we can see, okay, view the proposer queue. So we're right here. Interesting. So we actually need 2 more blocks, and then all of those that are in queued should go to pooled. So actually, let's just do one more name. There you go. And then now they should all be pooled. Well, they were not all pooled. And the reason why they're not all pooled is because, and actually some new ones are queued. Sorry, some are broadcasted, some are pooled, some are queued. That's because we did 2 blocks in. So it basically goes from queued to pooled, 4 at a time, and then from pooled to broadcasted 4 at a time. So the broadcasted ones actually have arrived in core, and if we go 1 block further, they will be mined in core, and then they'll appear here as being completed. Yeah, so I mean, I can quickly go through this just to show people. We can go through a few more blocks. And actually, I can make a withdrawal myself. Let's make a withdrawal. Withdraw. I'm gonna withdraw us like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so people can just see it. Okay, and then platform information, few withdrawals. So you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just made it. It is here and it is pooled. And it basically, yeah, so it's, and all the other ones have been broadcasted and they're just waiting for core to mine them. They're in broadcasted state right now because they actually need a core block to happen to be able to mine it. So it will take like 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, you can see it's pooled, and if we go one more block, normally we could also just wait 3 minutes for a block, but I want to just speed this up a little bit. Yeah, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been broadcasted, and there's probably going to be a core block any second now. Let's see, when was the last core block? 2 minutes ago. Yeah, so we just just basically need to wait for a core block. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has already appeared in my local wallet, in my local Dash Core wallet. So yeah, it just needs to be mined for us to move it. I don't want to really wait any longer because core could take up to 10 minutes to mine a block or even longer. So yeah, I think that's good enough for now. It will work. Come on, core, hurry up. Hash away. Current core height 9632. Well, I could start. What should I do to like pass the time? I would sing, but then everybody would leave our.
You can show insight.
Can we get back to this?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's continue, and then I'll share once it's done. Once we have a core block.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was talking about 1.4. 1.5, it was originally end of October. I'm moving it to early November because we are about 1 week late, or I would not say late. Oh, there it happened. Anyways, but 1.5 will happen early November. We'll have fungible tokens, SDK improvements, and a small gas improvement. 1.6, let's go to the next slide with roadmap changes. Will happen in December, and we'll have the state sync initial version and a simple proof of service system. And that will take us kind of till the end of the year. But in December, we're also going to start working on actually probably in November as a side, something on the side. We'll start working on our smart contracts. Yay. I have a lot of ideas
All
for
right.
that.
Do you want to share your screen or?
Yeah, sure. Let me share. So it's now mined, and yeah, I mean, it's not very interesting, but where do I show it? Where do I share again? Yeah, so basically when you now check withdrawals, the queue is empty because it's happened. The withdrawals have been completed. They're not expired, they're not broadcasted, they're completed. And if I were to show completed withdrawals here, the list would be very, very big, right? So this one is really just for non-completed withdrawals. You can also see the daily limit here. And we withdrew like more was withdrawn. So yep, everything worked. The goal here is to continue testing some edge cases, like some things that could try to attack the system. For example, right before the call, I tested a withdrawal of something that would be considered dust in core. Everything worked fine. So we're just testing out these like, really big values, really small values, testing out. We're gonna test. We're gonna stress test it, but so far, yeah, there's no issue whatsoever. So that's that. Let's go back.
Shall we continue with Ivan and Dashmate improvements?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Long time no see. So we worked this sprint on some improvements for Dashmate. There are also bug fixes as well, but let's go through them really quick. We introduced validation of the external IP together with ports. If you remember, in status command and in the doctor command, we're checking for P2P ports availability, also like HTTP port, to make sure that your settings and firewall configuration are correct. So, and thanks to XKCD, he added IP validation to the port checker as well. So now we can check not just port, but IPs. We added Docker stats to the Docker command and to the reports, what it creates. Docker stats, it's basically the resources what Docker containers are consuming, CPU memory, and so on. We worked on documentation for logging with Jeremy, with this, and you'll see an article in our platform documentation very soon. We're gonna cover the log rotation and things what was hot topics in discussions recently. And related to this task, Docker log rotation for Dashmate services. So we built in this rotation inside the Dashmate, so you don't need to configure anything on Docker level, and container logs will be maintained now. And enhance the core, the configuration in Dashmate for core logging. So now you can specify all the settings what core has for debug logs, like enabling IP, threads, thread names, and things like that if you need. And we made it more kind of structured, properly structured now. Please, next slide. Yeah, there are several bug fixes, like Dashmate update command failed if image is not present or built only for like the architecture is not supporting on this machine, so it's handled now. We got the bug in Dashmate helper, then it tries to renew SSL certificate. We saw it on testnet and fixed. And the bug related to the port check again. So if you were to disable IPv6 for your node, then port checker might not work, and this is fixed on dash level no dashmate level, and yeah, the dashmate doctor command was fixed because it tries to collect too many logs into report. Most of these fixes incorporated in 1.4. We worked also on other tasks. There was a request to enable mainnet for JavaScript SDK. On the code-wise, everything is done. Seed nodes are still in progress, so it's more like infrastructure thing to bring up seed nodes for mainnet. We already had one for testnet and testing them. There was a bug in DAPI, and probably you noticed that on MNO Watch. Then you see outdated information about the nodes. That was because of the caching issue in get status endpoint in DAPI, and now it's fixed. We also refactored the related to this to the seed nodes the factory deployment tool to use Dashmate for seed nodes, so more dog fooding. And I don't know if you noticed, but we gave some love to our GitHub repository and clean up the GitHub issues what we had for multiple years, and many of them weren't actual already and outdated. So we have this list cleaned. If you create some issue, you probably got a comment and some notification about the additional questions, or it was just closed because of it was fixed. So please remember to use it to report the bugs in platform. That's very convenient for us. And you might notice that now we're using GitHub projects for our day-to-day tasks, and we're going to continue that and put the roadmap and backlog there soon. So our development will become more transparent for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the core team.
Alrighty, sounds good. So, couple of big things. We were able to merge in the improved headers download, so that should help out for sync. Has the potential to help out improved sync times for mobile clients. Happy to get that done. Asset unlocks fix. It's kind of in review and testing at this point. So not merged in yet, but Konstantin had worked on that and gotten a PR open. So it's now in review and testing. And basically, once that is wrapped up, we'll be releasing V22. I believe we released a product brief on V22 not that long ago, so that community partners and stakeholders are aware of a coming version. Otherwise, working on a number of other things that moves us towards V23 or V22.x work. BIP 324 is still getting worked on and good progress is being made. I feel like a broken record on that, but there's just a lot of work there to do. But we continue to make progress, and yeah, unlikely that'll be in V22, but I'm hopeful, but at least experimentally, but just depends. Otherwise, we're working actually on migrating from auto tools for kind of our build system into CMake. CMake is a lot more modern, has really, in a lot of ways, better maintainability and better integration with modern tooling to provide easy and very usable debugging. So we are potentially looking forward to that. I've done a couple of PRs in the last week or two preparing for potential migration over to CMake. That would actually change how kind of the build process would look like for some people. So that could be a breaking change for them if they build themselves, but be a pretty simple change. Just instead of make, it's basically just calling CMake. So haven't made a lot of progress on requiring a C++20 compiler. I might get back to that pretty soon. Otherwise, proof of service based banning initiated via platform. We are working on a dip for that right now. So I believe the dip is done, and we are getting ready to merge that into the dips repository in the near future. So there might be a PR for that already. Otherwise, keep an eye out for that. And then extensible addresses in the DML, that one, the dip still has to be written. That one's kind of on the back burner as we're getting v22 out. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover there. You can take a look at the backport progress down below, and here you can see all the merge PRs in the last 2 weeks. So quite a few merge PRs. You can see on the right-hand side there some BIP 324 work that was merged in, and a couple of CMake prerequisite PRs in the top left. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at these on GitHub if you are interested or concerned about any of it. Yeah, we can move forward, move on to mobile.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Basta. So on Android, again, same theme as before. Razor focused on getting Dash Pay out. On the username request side, it was mostly focused on the voting related elements. All the requests features were finished in the previous sprint. And then we did some mainnet testing. We did have a release of Dash Wallet 10.3 with immediate hotfix after that to handle a few crashes. So that is currently being rolled out. And basically everything that you see here in progress or testing is either in review or completed in the current sprint that we're in. Move on to the next slide. And again, Dash Sync. So this is the backend library work that we need to get Dash Pay built and back online. We did have some build issues that now has been addressed. Again, same thing with Android. Halfway through this current sprint, all of these are done or in review. And then a lot of the remaining work on CoinJoin. We just have a couple small items that we're currently working on for CoinJoin, and we hope to get that out into Dash Wallet in advance of Dash Pay, just like we've done with Android. So hopefully that should be coming soon as well. We also made a small change on just our core protocol logic on how we identify versions of core. All right, so this is the first time I'm kind of sharing kind of the plan right now for releases. It's a little bit more concrete for Android than it is iOS, but as I mentioned, we've already started the rollout of 10.3.1 that exposes balance mixing. It's been at about 20% over the weekend, and we'll be increasing that probably to about 40 or 50% today. That's going out slowly just to make sure we can, identify or observe if there's any crashes or anything else that we need to fix. It was a significant version or change, not just because of balance mixing, but that gets us to our next step on the Dash Pay upgrade by merging all the code and whatnot. So now we're in a pretty good place to make that Dash Pay upgrade happen. The release for Dash Pay on testnet will be happening very shortly. We're just waiting for Google Play to approve the review. They have to approve even our test versions. Google is usually pretty quick on reviews, but lately they've been lagging a bit, almost today, if not a little bit more. But I'm hoping that will come out today. And that's everything that we had planned, all the main core features, except for invitations. So we'll be announcing that to the community as soon as it's available. This is where, as much community involvement we can have, the better. We have very limited time testing on testnet. We've done a lot of internal testing, but we really, want to get as many people to have their eyes on this as possible, especially people that are willing or able to set up a masternode so they can contribute to the voting. The final release candidate for Dash Pay going to mainnet. Once we're done and we're satisfied there's no major issues from testnet testing, we'll do our own internal testing on mainnet. And if there's no major issues, then hopefully by Monday, I'll say the week of next week, but hopefully Monday. We don't like doing major releases like this over the weekend. So even if things appear to go well, by the end of this week, we'll still wait until Monday, more likely to get that out. And then we'll do a point release after that, date to be decided. I mean, obviously anything could happen through all of these stages. So, but we do plan on doing another point release to get the changes out needed for invitations to be enabled. That's the plan for Android. As far as iOS, the steps are a little bit different here. We haven't had any opportunity really to have any community testing on Dash Pay on testnet for iOS. So there are a lot more releases that'll be going to testnet before we go to mainnet. So again, this is, any opportunities people have to get involved with testnet testing is much appreciated. As again, the more eyes we can have on this, the better. But the first stage will be, as I mentioned, exposing balance mixing just on Dash Wallet. If we don't have any major issues with the fixes, all of these are if we don't have any major issues, basically. But if everything goes well this week, then we should be able to get that out next week, assuming we don't run into delays with the Apple review. And then the next step would be getting a version of Dash Pay on testnet with the simplest username possible. So the non-contested usernames, that doesn't require any voting. It's immediate creation. And along with that would be all the major core features, sending contact requests, username payments, profile info, etc. We'd have a final release candidate for mainnet with all those features, and then we'll, as we did before with Android, or we'll verify on mainnet ourselves internally, and then do the release. So contested usernames with balance mixing essentially is the first kind of MVP of Dash Pay iOS. Then we'd move on to contested usernames. Those are the ones that require votes. The same process here. We'll go through that testing. We'll verify on mainnet after we're comfortable there, and then we'll release that version officially. And then we'll go into voting. So the idea here is we want to get people to be able to create usernames as quickly as possible, regardless if they're contested or non-contested. So we don't want to hold those up, even though it's at the cost of not having voting on iOS. So voting will just be available on Android and the TUI, or manually by script if you're capable. It'll be coming out as, I guess you could say, our third kind of major feature release on iOS. And then, we'll have the same update for invitations and any other kind of bugs and changes. We do have a few other features that kind of trail behind on iOS, such as private memos. Those will also be coming, a bit later. It could potentially come into that other point release, but that's still a little ways away. So, that's the plan for both Android and iOS. This is a major release in many different respects. A lot of different users are going to be involved. There's going to be newbies. There's going to be masternode owners, on the voting front. There's going to be, hard Dash fans that have been waiting for this forever. So, just whatever feedback you have. Utilize the support desk for sure. They can help with any questions or feedback that you have. And that's the update for mobile. Sorry, it should also be noted that on testnet, for those who are going to contribute, and this will go out in an announcement, but the voting period is shorter on testnet. So instead of on mainnet, which has 2 1-week periods, the first week to request your name and the second, both 2 weeks for voting, it's only a 90-minute period, 45 minutes each on testnet. So just be aware of that when you're playing around on testnet. That's it.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Let's go with the questions. Let's start the Q&A session. So the first question is, Sam mentioned previously that he wants to implement withdrawals to hardware wallet addresses as well. As people ask for this and he used hardware wallet as well. Any update on that?
Yes, it works. It works. So basically, let's imagine you are using a hardware wallet, and you're getting paid to a hardware wallet, and you're like, oh, okay, well, how do I make this work because I don't have my withdrawal key? Yeah, so you can, instead of using that withdrawal key, which would be the payout, the key that's actually behind the payout address, that you don't have access to because it's a hardware wallet, you can instead use your masternode owner key. But if you use your masternode owner key, you can only withdraw to the payout address of the Evo node. So you can only withdraw. Oh, my hair is really bad. To the Evo node. So like your main, where you get your normal payments from Core, you just basically say, I'd like to withdraw 5-, and it will just go there, and you don't put in an address at all. I hope that answers the question. And it's currently working.
When do we learn more about how Evo node operators can initiate withdrawals interface-wise? Is there perhaps a concept on DevNet that for that, or does it still need to be coded from scratch?
Well, I mean, you saw it today in the demo, so no, it does not need to be coded from scratch. I have it right now in the TUI. Like you can do it. So yeah, we're probably going to, because the TUI is a little bit more complicated, we'll probably just extract exactly that part and put it in its own little app. So you basically just have one button to press. It's like withdraw, or you enter your key and withdraw, and that's it. So it's not complicated for people at all.
Right. Thank you very much. Is it possible to transfer DPNS name?
No, it's not currently possible.
All right. So that's it for the questions. Thanks for being here, asking questions, giving us feedback, and see you in 2 weeks. See you guys. Bye-bye.